everyone, Audra here. So we'll get right into it. We're going to be doing a little bit of a softer yoga practice today. Typically, sometimes I like to do a lot of technicality and some strength building. For today, I want us to go a little sweeter, a little softer, and just connect and be really just kind and celebrating in our bodies instead of kind of forcing or pushing into anything in specific, okay? So for today, I want you just to find yourself a yoga mat, maybe a bolster or blanket. I just like to sit on something squishy, and 2 blocks always help in my practice. And because we're at home doing our yoga, once you find yourself comfortable with all your stuff in place, go ahead and find an easy seated position and literally look around your room. Acknowledge if you have pets anywhere, boyfriends, husbands hiding in the back. Maybe there's a pile of mess somewhere. Whatever it is, just kind of take in your space. And then understanding that the practice that's before us is really about you, your body, and your internal world. So kind of let all of the outsideness, the outer world, kind of dissipate and fade into the background. And it really does help for me just to actually take a moment to look at my body. Even take your hands and maybe squeeze just a little bit on your legs. And maybe feeling your arms. And then today, because I want us to go a little softer and not really hold anything back, let's take both of our hands right onto our bellies. And just do your best to kind of breathe into your hands and get your belly super full. And even wiggle your hands around a little bit just to kind of explore the squishiness that's there. We all have it. And really deep breaths into your palms. And try and fill them up as much as you humanly possibly can. And the next inhale that comes in, see if you can get it really big in the middle of your inhale. So when you breathe in, it's almost like you're trying to expand a balloon. And this time, open your mouth as you exhale. And then you can go ahead and rub your belly a little bit. Just again, feeling all the squishiness, all the goodness. And then we're going to head onto our backs to get started. So once you come into your backs, I prefer, just for a really softer kind of grounded sensation, to bend my knees and bring my feet a little wider than my hips, and then just plop yourself down. And sprawl out. And let yourself be heavy. And again, we'll take a few really generous breaths into your belly. And then open your mouth, let it go. And feel how you almost sink into the floor when you do that. Let's do 2 more times. Just inhale, go all the way to the top if you can. And then open your mouth, let it go. And then one more time, inhale. And then open your mouth, almost like you're popping a bottle of champagne. And then you can take your hands again, stick them right onto your tummy. And now as you breathe fully into your whole torso, your chest cavity, your belly, see if you can just let the breath be a little bit more easeful. And you're still filling up the palms, but there's a lack of drama involved with the breath. And if you know Ujjayi, go ahead and start that, just allowing the breath to move in and out your nose. And since this is a practice really rooted in sweetness, please don't push or pull your breath. ujjayi. It's almost like a silky ribbon moving through your nasal cavity. Just finding a cadence that works with your inhale and your exhale. And start to take your attention a little bit more to the physicality of this moment. Can you get your shoulder heads to drop a little heavier into your yoga mat? And it feels so nice when you have your knees knocked like this, just to feel the inner thighs almost softening forward, almost like you're creating a little bowl of your pelvis, and it's almost just kind of tipping forward just slightly. And again, easefulness. And then just keeping that rhythm of your breath. Let's stretch the arms super wide. And I like to take my fingers and peel them back, almost like push the heels of the hands out to the sides of the room. Good. And then reach the arms up, and we'll give ourselves a little hug. So cross your right elbow on top first, and really just let your arms cross right in the center of your chest. Almost you feel like you're closing your chest off, but then take your hands and wrap them around yourself. And again, go ahead and feel like, can you squish your shoulder blades into your hands, maybe squeeze a little bit and palpate. You can even take your hand and try to like pull your shoulder blades apart here. And just feel the whole back body kind of splay open, get a little heavier. And then we'll open the arms back open. And then you'll reach your arms back up, and then just cross the other elbow on top. And you should feel when you start to breathe in, it might be a little harder with your chest closed off like this. That's totally fine. But then do allow the exhales to take precedence. And again, finding just that sense of decompression with every breath out. And letting the back body, like your shoulder blades, your back ribs, even the back of your head, get heavier. And then we'll open the arms back open. And then we'll just feel kind of the whole front body here kind of peel a little wider. So just think of like stretching open through your collarbones. Good. And then we'll take our hands straight up and interlace and just press your palms overhead. And then sort of stretch the arms. And then like you're kind of waking up for the very first time this morning, go ahead and you can kind of do a little pelvic tilt, stick your butt out, maybe a little wiggle side to side. And then I like to windshield wiper my knees side to side, so keep your feet wide. And start to plop your knees to either side here. And let your arms just fall overhead. And then the next time your knees go over to the right, take a few moments here. You can take that right ankle on top of your left thigh. And just feeling that openness on top of your left hip here. If you're sensitive in your knees, I would skip this. Just playing around with getting a little bit more length in areas that you might need it. And then you can ditch that right foot, bring your knees up and over, and switch sides. Oh. And it's not uncommon to hear little snap, crackle, pops, and when we start to kind of wake up and start our practice, you can even maybe hear me digest my breakfast. And then you'll bring your knees up and over, and then just hug your knees into your chest. And again, with that moment of just like tactile information in your hands, like go ahead and give your knees a huge squeeze. Can you wrap your arms around your shin bones? And just for the heck of it, maybe stuff your nose in your knees if you want to kiss your knees. And then lay back down. And then take your knees right over your hips and give your lower back a little massage just by bringing your knees side to side. And then I like to play around here and give your knees like a circle. And you'll just notice when you bring your knees in a little bit closer, you can kind of get a nice massage on that back of your pelvis here. And then when you bring your knees further away, you can get into the outer glutes, the hips. Oh, good. And then we'll, again, being really soft here, just bring this right knee all the way into like your armpit, almost like you would for like a half happy baby, and start to make really generous circles. And so this is a pretty common practice that I like to do for myself, just to create a lot of space and easiness, especially when I get super stressed out. Sometimes it doesn't serve me to be really disciplined on my mat. It just needs a place of comfort. And so today that's what we'll be really working on. You make sure you switch directions. And yeah, keep your shoulders nice and soft and heavy on the mat. And then let's take our hands just right behind your thigh, interlace your fingers. And I like to really get along through my right side here by pressing my right thigh bone into my hand. And then just play with straightening that leg a few times. Kind of yawning open the back of the knee. My stomach is really talking to me, y'all. Yeah, you can roll the ankle around, maybe spread your toes. And then again, for the sake of just being really kind and soft in our bodies, take your hands and you can palpate kind of the sides of your knees and then maybe work your fingers down and see what's going on in the legs today. You can dig your fingers into your quads, maybe the outer hips, or get into the back of the hamstrings, giving yourself a few squeezes. And then try and kick your heel up maybe a little bit more. If you want to get more into the hamstring, you can bring your leg in a little closer. But again, just keep thinking about the outer part of your right hip to move forward. And then just release this right leg down, and we'll go on to the other side. So pull your left knee and make those big circles. Recently, I had a teacher describe this as stirring the cauldron. So when you're on your back, just think of like a huge ladle and just take your favorite soup and you're just going to town on it, making sure you don't burn any bits at the bottom. And switching directions. And then eventually, you can take your hands interlaced behind your thigh. And I think it helps to go maybe a little bit further down, so more towards where the glute and the hamstring meet, and kind of push your thigh into your hand, and then play with extending the leg a few times. And get your toes to spread. You'll notice if you kick your heel straight up, you'll wake up your calf muscle. And then you can take your hands and just kind of investigate here. You're not trying to do anything, maybe just feeling into what's really going on in your body today. It's nice to sneak in a little leg massage where we can get it. And then we'll hug the knees in. And we're all going to roll forwards and back on your mat. And let's make our way up into our hands and knees and just setting up a tabletop position. And then just bringing the hands maybe a little wider than your shoulders, and you can spin the palms out just slightly. And then before we start to go into any sort of cat and cow movement, I want you to do your best just to create a really long line from like the crown of the head all the way through your tailbone. And my favorite way to describe it, I know this is a little awkward, but like think about squirting the crown of your head forward. And then let your tailbone go straight back. And then without moving too much here, I just want you to exaggerate a few really big inhales. And filling up your entire chest cavity. So when you inhale, just fill up.
Notice what gets bigger. And then exhaling slowly out the nose. And do that 2 more times. So inhaling. And then exhaling. And then again, breathe in. Notice how the chest wants to almost move forward. And then when you breathe out, notice how you can almost take the base of the neck and let it be a little bit softer, away from the ears and down. And now let's actually move the breath. So on your next inhale, go ahead and just kind of swing your chest forward, let your belly drop. Maybe you look up slightly, and then as you empty the breath out, go ahead and round your spine. And then again, inhaling. And then exhaling. And then keep it going. Do about 4 rounds on your own. And the next round, go front to back, and then we'll continue on. And if it makes sense for you to maybe be a little bit more organic with it, you can bring your butt all the way towards your heels when you breathe out. You can exaggerate anything when you inhale. And if you want to start to make big circles with your torso, and if there's any kind of stickiness living in the back body, like wiggle into it. I like to take some days like one ear all the way down toward my shoulder and kind of pull that opposite hip up. And then switching it around. And so, just so you know, there's no way that you can muck this up. Just keep moving, keep breathing. And just trusting that little bit of fluidity that's going to take you into a place where, again, relieving any of that stickiness. Then eventually, go ahead and just meet me through the middle here. Just in a neutral spine. And then do check out your hands. So if you have taken my class, you know that I like to go over kind of the minutia a lot of times. And today, again, we're going a little bit more easeful. So I'm not going to do too much talking about this. But just make sure that the hands are spun out just a little bit so there's a little bit more room right where your collarbone and your armpit meet. And then if you feel like you're dumping a lot of weight into your wrist, just for a little bit, let's come up onto our fingertips. And so, my favorite teacher on the planet, she calls us cupcake hands. So pretend that you have little cupcakes underneath your hands. And you're just kind of lifting up as much as you can through the forearm here. And then keep that sense of lift. Pretend like those cupcakes, you're just almost squishing them a little bit, but you aren't going to let them squish at the base of your wrist. So it's almost like your fingers are having to move forward slightly. And there's that sense of lift again through the forearms. And then let's take our right leg back. Did that left wrist get really heavy? Go ahead and hug the left hip back. And then let's actually pop up into the left fingertips. And can you get your right baby toe down onto the mat? And then lead with the inner right leg. Try and pull that back to lift it up a little bit. And then let's extend. You might have a little bit of wiggling happening. This whole left arm forward. So instead of wanting to go up with my hand and foot, I want you just to pull yourself apart. Take a full breath in. Good, and then a full breath out. Just lower everything down. And super short and sweet. Again, let's extend that left leg back. And then pop up into your right fingertips. And if you are like me, sometimes when I take myself into asymmetrical poses, my whole body gets a little cattywampers on one side. So to take the drama out of that side that's compensating, hug this right hip back. There, stay long. Can you get your inner left thigh to roll up a little bit more? And then just think about kind of flying away here. Reach that whole right arm forward, hug that right hip back, and then inner left thigh up, and then chest open, look forward. And then just bring your hand and foot down. And a little cat and cow in between. So just kind of checking in. Notice if you feel any heat in your body. And so for today, we're going to explore a few standing postures, and I want to introduce the foundation of the standing posture by seeing if we can find kind of the root of it right here in our tabletop position. So again, this time we'll take our right leg back. This time we'll pop up into our right fingertips. And then you'll start to pull this right heel down. And then again, remember how I was just saying, how a lot of times we go for like these weird asymmetrical shapes that our whole body tends to kind of just plop into some cattywampus variation. So right now my whole left butt is leaning over towards the left. I want you to try and get it underneath you. And then can you bring your right hand to your right hip? You can kickstand this bottom shin bone behind you slightly, but doing your best, think about your left butt moving to the middle of your mat. You'll feel how already you start to kind of get really stable. Now take this whole right shoulder back, and then maybe reach up that right arm. And then just give yourself permission. Think of your whole belly, just like when we started, you had your hands on it, like inhale completely. And then you can exhale, lean back more, be dramatic here now with this. Like take up all the space wherever you are in your house. You can soften this bottom left shoulder down the back. And as you keep pushing this left hip underneath you, now can you think about maybe your tailbone? Instead of letting it kind of stick out behind you, I want you to pull it straight back towards that right heel. Good, one more full breath in, look up. Good, and then you're out of there. Just bring your hand down, bring your right knee down, and then we'll go into the other side upper leg. So extend your left leg back. Spin the heel down. And you'll notice, so you might have a better angle now if you're watching, to kind of kickstand this right leg behind you. But then when I start to do this, does my right butt lean back? Can you get your right butt? You can take your hand, you're in the privacy of your own home, grab it, pull it under, and then kind of unfurl open. So softening this bottom right shoulder. And the more that I can get my right tuchus to push under me, the more I can take this whole left shoulder back. And this again, be really celebratory in this. And about 3 more breaths here. Tinker around, you can look up. Notice if you look down what changes. And maybe looking straight ahead. And 1 more inhale. Good, and then exhale, hands down onto the mat. And bring your knee down. And then we'll head right into down dog. So spin the palms out a little bit, tuck your toes under. And then lift your thumb up and then pedal it out. So bending one knee at a time. You can shake your head. This is a good time for like a little yoga twerk. Jump up and down, shake out whatever you might need to shake out, even if it's not physical. You guys know what I mean. And you take a little peek at your hands, and again, just make sure your palms are spinning out a little bit, and you're not dumping the weight to the base of the wrist. Think about especially your index finger going forward. I like to kind of pretend that I have little coconuts, and I'm sticking them underneath my wrist, so I was lifting them up. And then look at your biceps, can you spin them a little bit more forward? And then bend your knee, and then again, maybe a little yoga twerk, but get your butt as high as you can. And let your head drop. And then keeping that little bend of your knees, can you try your best to pull your hips, your butt, to the back of your yoga mat, towards the back of the room, wherever you are. And then keep your hips pulling back, can you press your thigh bones back? And then think about looking at your beautiful feet, that you want to grow shoe size longer, so you're going to try and pull your heels to the back of your mat. And get your heels as heavy as you can down, and then lift your 10 toes up. Whew, hello legs. And then on the next breath in, look forward, and with a lot of enthusiasm, plank close. Close. We won't call it from now on. And see what's going on. If at any moment you need to drop onto your knees, do that. And we'll take about 2 more breaths here. And then a big inhale. And as you exhale, go right into your down dog. And then we'll head forward into plank again. This time we'll drop right onto our knees. Think of hugging your elbows straight back as you come all the way onto your bellies. And then I always, no matter what kind of practice that I'm taking, if I'm opening up my front body and I'm on my belly, I find it so important just to kind of take my thigh bones and then pull them back as much as I can. So you can prop yourself up onto your forearms for this. Take your right leg, pick it up. Yank your leg to the back of the mat and then roll your baby toe down. You notice how already a little bit more space in your low back. And then do the same thing on the left. And then we'll go again a little softer. So you can bring your hands as wide as your yoga mat. Cupcake hands or just tent your fingertips, whatever you want to call it. And then keep your legs really solid. Pull your shoulders back, and then as you breathe in, go ahead and come on up. And we'll take an inhale. And then open your mouth, exhale. Any little wiggles of the head. And then let's be a little bit more fluid with it. So take one more full breath in. Now as you exhale, you're going to grow longer by pulling your heart forward and down. And then inhaling, come on up. And then exhale, come on down. And let's do this just 2 more times. And then last time, come on up. Maybe you hold, softening the shoulders. And like, think of yourself as a big old cobra coming up, being a little sassy, and even feeling the shoulder blades move around. And then press them into your heart space. Look up and then come on down. And then we'll go right into child's pose from here. So I like to bring the knees wide, toes together. And just drop your bum towards your heels. And you can bring your forehead down. And we'll take 4 breaths here, just letting everything settle. And then reach your arms forward, look forward, and tuck your toes under. And then go right into your down dog, and as soon as you get there, just extend your right leg back, and we'll just shake out the leg. You can roll the foot around, and lean your head back even. So this is not going to be a very structured 3-legged down dog, just letting it open up. Notice if there's any little stickiness. One of my favorite descriptions, kind of like you're flossing into your hip crease here. So again, those little circles. Remember your little bowl of soup stirred around. And then you can straighten the leg and then go right onto the left side. And then set your foot. And then maybe go into a little bit longer of a downward facing dog. Walk your feet back. Go and check out your hands. And there's no rush at all. Let's take 4 breaths together. And any time that you need, you can drop into a child's pose. I really love, and you'll hear me breathe, a few exhales out my mouth. Even sighs. And then eventually, let's take our right leg up again. And can you keep your hips neutral for a second? So what I mean by that is that you're not letting your pelvis tilt to the right, but then take your right toes, flex your foot, and you're gonna let your right big toe go out to the right. And then keep hugging the left hip back, and then let the hip open up, but keep the leg straight and just see how far you can stretch open. And now as you exhale, bend that knee, And let's pull your leg all the way over to your right shoulder. Oh. And then inhale, reach the leg back. We'll do that 2 more times. Exhale, knee over. Good. And then the last time, extend the leg super far back at your toes to look as weird as you possibly can. Good. And then hug the knee over to your right. And then you'll step your right foot towards the right pinky toe. And now your back leg for today, don't let it be soggy. Right? I want you to get a whole lot of juice. Lift it up and then bring your hands inside of the right foot. And just get used to this lunge shape. As you keep the back leg really juiced up, maybe bend a little deeper into this front knee. Good. And then we're going to do this kind of Spider-Man-like variation here of the pose. So kind of similar to down dog, but it's not down dog at all. We're going to reach your arms forward. And you can keep those little cupcake hands if you like. Bend a little deeper into this front knee. Hug your right hip back. And keep reaching your arms forward. Oh no, I lost my little mic. Okay, hopefully it's working. Good. Drop your right butt lower. Give this back leg more energy. Good. And then walk your arms forward. And as you push into your hands, wherever they are, can you pull your chest up and then keep hugging the right hip back? Oh yeah. Good. And then we'll walk our hands back in. And we'll take our back knee, just drop it down. And if you need a little bit of cushioning, you can always fold up the side of your mat. And then we're going to go for a pretty kind of structured pose. So instead of sinking into the hips, I want it to be more of like a 90-degree shape. And just one hand at a time, bring it to your front thigh. Can you get your right butt to drop a little heavier? Good, and let's bring the arms overhead. Let's hook our thumbs for now. And then see if you can get your arms to reach as high as you can go. And then take your right butt, drop it down. And then reach your arms up. Maybe start to look up. And we'll go for a nice kind of side body stretch. Just grab a hold of this left wrist with our right hand and just pull it all the way over. And as you do that, keep dropping your right butt down. You can look up. Take another breath in. Right butt heavy. Reach up and over with this left arm. Good. And then come all the way back to center and look up even more. Right butt drops. Good. And then hands down onto the mat. And so I like to use blocks here. You don't have to. But we're going to go for a little hamstring opener. So you'll take your right leg. And so just straighten it out. And your blocks can be on the highest height. And you'll take your toes, peel them back, and get nice and tall with your heart space. And then maybe bend this right knee just a smidge. And again, feeling that right butt get heavier. All right, so what I mean by that is a lot of times when we go for extending the leg, we tend to allow the hip to kind of jack up into the waist, and this shortens everything. It's not very fun in the low back. But when you learn to drop this femur bone down into the hip socket, it creates a lot of nice length, and then you can truly start to open the belly of the hamstring a little bit better. You can peel the toes back. Again, a tiny little bend in the knee. Drop your right sitting bone. Now everybody, let's take about 4 more breaths here. Just play with melting the chest forward. You can even come down onto the blocks. It's being sweet. Don't push into anything. Just rebend that front knee. And tucking the back toes under. Good. So So you have an option here. You can go right into down dog, or if you want a vinyasa, you can drop onto the knees, or keep the legs lifted. I'm gonna drop on my knees today, bring my elbows straight back. Do a little baby cobra action. And then make my way back into down dog. And again, to be a little sweeter to get there, if you wanna pass through your child's pose, it makes a lot of sense on most days. And then we'll extend our left leg back. Again, first find your neutral hip, so let your 5 left toes spin to face the ground. You'll feel how that levels up the pelvis. Keep hugging your right hip back. Just growing long. And then I want you just to feel the openness as you let those left toes go out to the left. Good, and then let that hip peel open to face the left side of the room. Good, and then keep hugging the right hip back, and then just stretch the leg nice and straight. Get a little bit more heavy into your left hand. Good. And then a full, huge inhale. And then as you exhale, pull the knee over to your left armpit. And keep that back leg juiced up. And then inhale and extend it back. And then exhale. Knee over to the left. And last time. And then step your foot towards your left pinky. And again, this back right hip, try and not let it drop down, but keep it nice and lifted. And then let's play with bending into this left knee, getting used to that shape. Ooh. Did this back leg get soggy? Mine did. Lift it up. Ooh. And then you'll start to bend in a little deeper. And now think of exaggerating your arms forward. Let your head drop. And then you bend into this left knee. Can you start to really pull your left hip back? And then reach your arms forward. And it's feeling all of this length through like this whole right rib cage. And as you bend a little deeper, hug this left hip back. And now you can traction your hands almost back in to pull your heart forward. But keep pulling that left hip back. Good. 2 more breaths. I'm walking my arms back. Ay, caramba, that's hard. I haven't done that in a few weeks. I'm not gonna lie. Good. And then you'll bring your knee directly over your ankle. I'm just gonna have my blocks nearby. They're my friends. You want to float up the side of your mat, you can for extra padding. And then bringing your hands to your front thigh. So again, we're not plopping into this. We're gonna stay lifted. So you're bringing your left butt heavy. And actually, there's time for things when I do things too much, like the other side goes into those weird shapes. Again, I call it cattywampers. Can you drop your left sitting bone, but also take your right belly and see if you can kind of pull it up. There. And reach the arms. If you can remember, hook the other thumb. And spending a few moments as you get your left sitting bone to drop, it feels like everything above your belly button is lifting up. You might look up. Can you spin those arm bones a little bit more forward? Lift your chest up. Oh, yeah. Good. And then take your right hand, go ahead and grab it, like that whole wrist, and just pull it up. Keep your arm bone straight. Good. And then the left sitting bone heavy. Good. And then you can even pull it out to the side. Maybe reach your chest up. And then coming all the way up. And releasing both hands, look up. Good, and then hands down. Oh, my blocks are already there. So you can grab your blocks here and straighten out the front leg. And again, try and get in your left sitting bone to plop down. And soften the shoulders. And I think of the front foot kind of like you're trying to pop a little wheelie. So your heel is down and then taking your left toes, especially your baby toe, it's still a toe, pull it back. Maybe bend into the front knee a little. And then just let your chest melt down. And then we'll take 4 breaths, just kind of sinking into this a bit. So you can drop your forearms to your blocks, let your head drop in. And again, just finding your breath and let it be easy. If you need to, exhale out your mouth. And I even like a few little raspberries here and there. And what I mean by that is just flutter your breath out your lips a few times. So. Let your chest just breathe open, collarbone to collarbone, shoulder head to shoulder head, drift a little bit more longer. And then we'll rebend into the front knee. And we'll take your blocks off to the sides. And tuck your back toes under. And then step into your plank pose. And your choice, you can take a vinyasa, you can skip it. If you want to take a full vinyasa, just keep your legs lifted, elbows straight back. Completely optional. You can do cobra if you're ready for up dog. Feel your inner thighs lift up away from the mat. Hold your shoulders back, lift your heart through your arms, keep your legs uber strong, and then we'll all meet in down dog. And then just peek at the top of your mat, and then slowly walk forward. Once you get there, let yourself dangle for a moment. You can grab your elbows, bend your knees. And then let your hands plop down. Keep your knees slightly bent, and just one vertebra at a time, roll up to stand. Bring your shoulders up by your ears, roll them back and down. And then it's fine Tadasana, so feet can be hip distance apart or your big toes kissing. It's whatever feels most organic to you, most like home when you're standing up tall. And then let your palms spin open. And let's take about 4 breaths here, breathing length up through the spine. Owning the space that you're standing in. You can observe where the weight likes to shift into, the right or left side, maybe the heels or the toes. And as you find your feet, make the inner heels a little heavier and let that help you kind of rebound the energy all the way up through the crown of the head. And on the next inhale, we'll play with getting our chest as tall as you possibly can go. And please don't lose any of the height. Keep the chest nice and lifted. Taking maybe a little bit more breath in. Keep the height nice and lifted. Open your mouth as you breathe out. Now we'll do a half salutation today. Let's just do 2. So spin the palms open, and then when you inhale, sweep the arms up, look up. And then as you exhale, you can always bend your knees here. Fold the breath out of the body as you hinge forward. You can always grab your blocks as well. And then we'll inhale, come up halfway. And since my blocks are here, I'll just use them. Come up halfway, squirt the crown of the head towards the front. And let your inner thighs roll back. And then as you empty the breath out, you can bend the elbows, fold right back down. Good. And then we'll come all the way up to stand, so strong leg. Inhaling, arms rise all the way up, look up. And then exhaling, hands all the way through to your heart space. We'll just do that one more time. So inhaling, arms reach up. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, opening up, kind of like you're opening up a jackknife here, heart forward, and then exhale, you're closing your knife, so just go all the way in. And then inhaling, rising all the way up. And then exhaling, hands through to your heart. Whew. There. And then release. Shake this out. And go ahead and you can flap your hands. I call these my bat wings. Like fly away with them if you can. Some guys, what's a bat wing? Don't tell them. And then I like to take blocks and just have them on the left side of my mat, to the front and to the back. Just so they're there. And then a little bend in the knees, and we're all going to step out to the right. And then bring your feet nice and wide here. And just check in with the pink edges of your feet. Have them parallel with the sides of your mat for today. And then bring your hands to your hips. And again, just take some time to breathe length up through the spine with your legs wide. And almost like you feel like a little torpedo as you kind of firm your legs into a midline. You can squirt the head straight up. And then bring your hands to your hips. Let's fold down to 90 degrees. Notice if the weight kind of went all the way to the backs of your heels and then your butt started to go back. Do your best to bring your legs a little bit more forward. And for me, it helps to kind of pull my belly up. Good, and then pull your chest down. You can always grab blocks here, hang out. Or you can walk the hands in line with the feet. Let your head drop. You can shake it yes, shake it no. And then I really just love the traditional grabbing of the big toe here with your peace fingers. If you're going there, straighten out the legs. Pull the heart forward. Good, and then bend your elbows out to the sides and let your head dangle. And you can roll the inner shoulders away from the ears. And as you let the elbows pull out to the sides of the room, can you get your collarbones to kind of peel open as well? What I mean by like shoulder head to shoulder head, the collarbones are broadening. And then what happened to your sitting bones is it kind of flare open. If you're hypermobile like I am, I really have to actually kind of squeeze my sitting bones together, shoot my chest forward, and then recommit to letting my elbows go out to the sides. Just 2 more breaths, nothing crazy here. And then straighten out the arms. Hands to your hips. Let your belly rise up as you pull your chest up. Good. And then we're going to take a few standing postures here. So we'll start with Warrior 2. And again, keep your feet pretty wide. Look at your right foot. Pick up your foot. Remember that little wheelie that we popped? Pop your wheelie and spin your foot to the back of your mat. And I actually like to do that a few times. And again, if we were in a public class, I could go in and like look at what your knees are all doing and what's happening with your leg. But just think of your leg. Go ahead and pop your wheelie. Spin your leg again parallel with the other foot. And then just make sure you understand that the whole leg is one unit. So like your thigh bone, your knee, your shin, your foot. When I pick up my foot and I spin it out, that means that I'm actually taking my whole leg and spinning it out as well. And really what matters the most here is that you're protecting your knee joint. Your knee is not a swivel joint, it's a hinge. So if your knee were to go faster or slower, it's not a good practice. We want to be smart here. So just pick up your foot. Let your knee track this whole time. And then make sure your toe is pointing to the back of your mat. Your knee is in line with that second toe. Bring your arms out to a T. And then shoot the crown of the head up. Kind of like those weird, I describe it, you know those wine openers that nobody really likes to use, where you swivel it and then you push it down to kind of pop the cork. Same thing here. Check in with that knee. Did it start to turn in? Bone flat. Nice and tall. And then just bend into that front knee. And then you might want to wiggle the back foot back or the front foot a little bit more forward. I love more like a heel to heel line. If you're heel to arch, that's fine. And then let that inner thigh soften down. And we'll take about 4 breaths here. Can you low and drop. And maybe pull this left rib back. And one more big inhale. And press down into your little wide open. Whoa. Hands to your hips. Spin the foot. I started to slide out a little bit. Shake it out if you need. And then find your legs. Second side here. Note to self, yogi toes when I teach. Thought I didn't need it. Good, so check out those left toes, pop your wheelie, investigate. Also, when I'm teaching anything and you find questions pop up, maybe write them down and email me. And then when you're ready, turn your leg out, arms out to a T. Track that knee and then come on down. Whew. And this back leg, it's not turning in, it's not turning out. Think of it as going straight back. And then find your little wine bottle opener. Press down, grow taller. And keep dropping your left butt down. Can you pull this right rib cage back now? And just one more inhale. And then just straightening out the leg. Spin parallel. Whew. And then shake it out if you need. And then other side. No, not other side. New pose. So it's good to have your block to the back of the mat. We're going to take basically the same pose, but now with straight legs. So we're going to go for Trikonasana. And this is actually my favorite pose ever, and you'll kind of feel where we've been like making a little bit more softer space where we can use that to really grow out of the pose here. So take your right toes, spin them to the back of the mat, make sure your knee's tracking, find your little wide opener, right butt, hug it in, and you're gonna reach to the back of the room as much as you can, to the back of the mat. Reach, 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 reach. Whew. And you can't reach anymore, keep that right butt in. You're just gonna bring your hand down wherever it falls. I have a block in the outer part of my right foot. Keep this right butt moving underneath you like we did right in like the very beginning on our knee. Right butt under you. The more that you find that, can you pull this left shoulder back? Ooh, yeah. And then reach up. 3 more breaths in Trikonasana, these aren't long. You can look down, keep your legs straight, keep your arms straight, come all the way up. Parallel the feet. And then go right onto your other side. So picking up your left toes, spinning them. And again, I like a little bit more heel to heelage. Finding your wide opener. Pull the chest up, hug that left hip back. Good, and then start to reach as far forward as you humanly possibly can. And bring your hand down. Right arm, open up. Good. And as I mentioned before, I am pretty hypermobile here, so I could just sink into that front knee. Check that out, that's not good. So I need to press a little bit more into like my big toe and let that calf muscle move up into my shin bone slightly. So it feels like there's a little pocket of air behind my left knee. And then again, we're wrapping that right, your left sitting bone down. And how can you take this right chest back? Yeah. Just peel open, wrist to wrist. Squirt the crown of the head, maybe look up. For 3, 2, and then come on up. Arms to the T. And then you can heel toe your feet together. And press to the top of the mat. Or palms. Good. So bring your feet about hip distance apart. Good. Bring your hands to your hips. And again, you can always bend your knees if you need. We're just going to fold down. And let's grab a hold of our big toes with our peace fingers. So, Padangusthasana here. Feet are about hip distance apart. If you need to bend onto your knees, you can. Good, and then straighten off the arms so you can pull your heart forward, get the shoulders out of the ears, and then bend your elbows straight out to the sides and let your head hang. And letting the inner shoulders soften down. Maybe a little bubble out the mouth. Take a breath in. So we're going to do one last little standing sequence here. We're just going to play around with just the foundations of what we just felt. Okay, so you're going to take your right hand to your right hip. And we're not going to do anything crazy fancy here. We're just going to pull this left knee in. Right? And typically we could do this with a straight leg, without a strap. You can always strap up the foot. Today, because we're going a little softer and we're not trying to push anything, I'm just going to bend my knee and have my left knee like at a 90 degree and grab a holding of the left knee with my hand and then drop that left sitting bone down and then try to get upright on this standing leg as much as I can. And if you find yourself really buckling in the standing leg, can you drop that left knee a little lower? Good. And play with the wiggle, find your standing leg. Find the heel, find the big toe, find the pinky toe. And then you're going to flex your left foot. And you're just going to let the knee come out to the side a little bit. Can you drop your left foot down a little taller through the standing leg? And we'll be here just for 3, 2. And then you're going to bring this left knee forward. And I'm doing this with you. Try not to be too much of a jerk. Reach your arms overhead. Uh-oh, I have a plan in front of me. We're going to try and extend that left leg long just for 5, 4, get the standing leg back for 3, 2, rebend. Whew. Hands down, a little mini standing split. And let's grab the block with our right hand here. Then extend your left leg back. Bring your left hand to your left hip. We've been here just a little different. So now I want you to think about your right butt. Move it underneath you. Notice how it starts to peel your front body open to the side of the room. And let that push you all the way into Ardha Chandrasana. And this top leg is flexed, the foot's going to be neutral. Extend it back. And again, this right butt, get it underneath you. Some of you feel comfortable extending this whole top arm up. You can, and as you get that right butt underneath you, take this whole left shoulder back. You're in your house, go big. If you fall, oops. Get right back into it. Take one more big breath in. Good. And then you're going to look down. You're going to be super sneaky. You're not going to try to make a single noise. Keep this top leg as lifted as you can. Bend into this right knee. Hug your right butt into the midline. Keep going back. Bend, hug. Keep the back leg uber lifted. And as light as you can. Boop. Warrior 2. Just found this pose. Get nice and low into it. Flip your front palm, reverse it. Oh, take up all the space. And then hands down onto the mat. And down dog, maybe vinyasa. Oh, yeah. And then peek at the top of your mat. Bend your knees. Some of you walk. Some of you guys can hop. And you'll bring your feet hip distance apart. And let's do Padangusthasana again. So big toes, peace fingers. Straighten the arms, heart forward. Elbows out to the sides, fold right. Let the inner shoulders move away from the ears. Shift the weight more into the balls of your feet. And then you'll bring your left hand to your left hip. You can grab a hold of the big toe this whole time. And just see if you can balance and come up to stand. And since again, we're not going to push it and go into like any full variations here. If you want, go for it. Otherwise, we're just going to grab a hold of this right knee. And again, I'm not letting my hip jack up here. I'm going to try and drop my right sitting bone down. I'm not going to try and straighten the leg today. I'm going to try and get my standing leg though to be a little bit more upright. And then flexing the foot. Get your right butt heavy and just bring this whole right leg out to the side. Kind of feels like puppy, fire hydrant. Oop. But drop your right butt down. Get the standing leg back. And just for 3. For 2. And then bring the leg forward. Give yourself a smirk. This is almost impossible to do if you're puckered in your lips. Take an inhale. Open your mouth, let it go. Straighten your leg. Arms up. And can you pull this right thigh back, down, hard up for 3, 2, standing leg back as much as you can. Good. And then you're going to pass through a little standing splits. Hands down. Good. And then grab your block with your left hand. Get underneath the shoulder. Grab a hold of your right hip with your right hand. And now, what's going to help me get into the pose is actually the foundation. So this leg, we're going to try and push your left hip kind of under you and let that open up the whole front plane of your body to the side. You can keep your hand to your hip, but think about like almost like a little wall was pushing your left hip underneath you more. And when you do that, let this be like an amazingly fun pose. Like, pull this right shoulder back. Maybe reach your arm up. You can look down, you can look to the side, see what happens when you look up. And keep that left butt moving under. Pull your right shoulder back. Did any of you guys make this a huge back bend? I know I did. Pull your whole tailbone towards the back of your leg. 3, 2, be as sneaky as you can. Bend, hug the hip in, and as light as you can. And then flip your front palm, reverse your warrior, stretch it up and back. And then hands all the way down into the mat. Take a little vinyasa, or skip it. Ooh, good work, you guys. So from here, let's come right into a little yogi squat, into malasana here. I'm going to hop a little bit more forward just so you guys can see. Bring your hands through to your heart. So if this is a little much, always sit on a block or 2. Right, and then, you know, sometimes if that's a whole lot, no shame in just coming to sit down, bring your legs wide, sit up tall, okay? And for me, this is kind of where I am. And you can even bring your legs, your feet a little bit closer in. Bring your hands through to your heart. Remember that little ribbon of air moving through your nasal cavity? I know mine started to kind of unravel a little bit. Get a little frayed on the edges, just come back to it. Getting the hips heavier. Now the collarbones more open. And the jaw soft. And so you could stay here for about 5 to 8 more breaths. You can wiggle around, maybe play with a little simple twist. I always like to give myself permission to have a little bit of fun in my practice, no matter how hard and vigorous it is or how easeful and sweet it is. If there's something that my body is kind of craving or I want to play with. Today I do want to do a little hop up. I know that I haven't really prepped you guys with your arms or shoulders or anything, but if this is something that you might want to play with, you just place your hands down. We can always go over it later, the details. And we'll do little hops up, and we'll try and kind of hop into a little squat. So you can always stay in malasana. You can drop right into child's pose right now, or you can bring your arms right underneath your shoulders. Keep your arms straight, look forward, and it doesn't have to be fancy. Just a little hop, maybe knees out to the side, feet together, clap it. Do that about 3 more times. Super quick. I'm gonna kick my block out so I don't karate chop it with my feet after. Look forward, a little hop up, whoop, and then come on down. And then one more time. Whoop. And as softly as you can, come on down. And then wherever you are, you just back into your little squat and just step your own. And we'll come onto our backs. And just like when we started, bring your feet a little wider than your hips. Let yourself plop down. Say hello to the floor. And see if you can come back into your cadence of that sweet rhythm. It's an inhale and an exhale. And so for the rest of the practice, we're going to go very easeful. And we'll take a restorative variation off of opening up the front body. We'll do bridge pose. And we'll just do it with a block. If you wanted to always stack up 2 blocks, you can. And you're going to bring your feet in line with your sitting bones, and these are just going to be directly in line. And then you'll press into your inner feet, lift your hips up. And just stick a block right underneath your sacrum. Maybe medium height works for you. And just let yourself, your pelvis, just be heavy on that block. And feeling the softness of the inner thighs rolling down. And then let's try and open up the front body a little bit more. You can take the shoulder head, one shoulder head at a time. Just kind of roll it underneath its collarbone. And then do the other. And check in with your back of your skull. Give your head a tiny nod, yes. And stay right here. Maybe extend your right leg long. And let the inner right thigh roll down towards the floor. And just notice how you can really allow the breath to soften through the middle. And as you approach the edges of your breath, be a little softer. Understanding, especially in these really difficult times, that we have a choice to not move towards strain and tension. If you extend the right leg, you can switch it up. if you're on your blocks, you can stay. If you want to maybe play with a variation of pulling one leg up at a time. But if you feel unstable at all in your blocks, I would skip this. Just letting all of the heaviness of the legs drip down. So bending one leg at a time and then straightening either leg. And then let your shoulders be little feet underneath your collarbones for you. Just feeling almost like your thigh bones are made of lead and they're just sinking more into the bowl of your pelvis. And just letting your legs drift up there, feeling the lightness of the feet now. And eventually bending one leg at a time and sending your feet back down. And so when we do come off of our blocks here, I don't want you just to rip the blocks out from underneath you. I want you to take your time. So if you're on the highest height, go ahead and come down to the medium height. Medium height, go down to the lowest, and so forth. And each time just letting your sacrum adjust. Let it settle. And eventually, moving the block completely. And then we'll finish just with a hip opener on our back. I would love for us to do a Gomukhasana on our backs, so stacking the right knee directly on top of our left. And hug your knees in a little closer, maybe reach out for the outer shin bones. And if this is really just a lot for your hips, you can always cross at the center of your shins and just hug your knees in. But if you can, it's like a little dainty cross-legged position. Maybe you get the outer ankles. Maybe you can reach for your outer feet. Notice how I had to lift my butt up to do that. If that was one of you guys, just extend your sitting bones forward. And then let the shoulders just droop down towards the floor. Don't be here too long. You want to encourage the feet to pull up towards the ears. And then you can press the feet down and lengthen your sitting bones towards the top of your yoga mat. Just 2 more breaths. And then release your grip. You can always untangle your legs here. Scoot your butt a little bit more over towards the right and drop your knees towards the left. And if this is still a little much, you could always stick your blanket or your bolster underneath your knees. Maybe drop your gaze over towards the right. And then making your way up to center onto your backs. And then onto your second side. So you'll take your left knee on top of your right. And setting up your hip opener. And just whatever it looks like for you today is totally fine. And so Supta and Gomukhasana. Supta just being on your back, it translates to happiness. Kind of like happy baby. And then in Gomukhasana, it's just cow facing. So translated, you're an happy cow. Please don't ask me to tell you why. We name what we name. lengthening through your lower back by extending your sitting bones towards where the, I'm sure eventually there's going to be a wall in front of you unless you're outside, but like where the wall and the floor meet, think about your sitting bones reaching towards that area. And then eventually just flop right into your twist. Again, unraveling the legs, maybe sticking a blanket or starting with your legs even here. I'm doing a block just to kind of show you where you could take it. And dropping your gaze over towards the left. And then coming onto your backs, unraveling. So if there's any other little movements, you can extend your legs out. Maybe one last little happy baby or forward fold. Otherwise, just like our whole body plop right into your shavasana. I welcome you to stay here as long as you'd like, letting your whole being just splay open. You can add any sorts of props in, maybe stick a blanket underneath your legs, maybe even just take your legs up a wall if it's nearby. And just feeling your whole being sink into the floor, let yourself take up space. And for now, the video is going to end. Just let yourself be here for